This video is going to be fun. I just got into an interaction on Twitter. I'm going to share that with you. What is up, fans? We are going to be talking about the most polarizing player on this team, and I am not talking about Tyreek Hill. I am talking about Tua Tagovailoa. And he's polarizing in ways maybe some don't want him to be. And as a content creator, as someone who covers the Dolphins, I've been covering the Dolphins for 7 years now. This year in March was my 7th year covering the Dolphins. Tua has only been with the team for what, 6? I covered the team in 2018. So I've been covering the team 2 years before Tua got drafted. I've been a Dolphin fan for 35 years. Yeah, give or take. But let's preference. Let's go on a little bit of a spiel before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, because on Twitter, somebody said I made a name for myself. And I'm not going to give them the justification of saying their name or anything like that. But somebody said, because there was a video of Quinn and Bell calling Dolphin players and saying goodnight to them. And I thought Tua's response was hilarious. Apparently, this guy it just bothered the crap out of him that me thinking Tua's response was the funniest was a problem, right? So somebody said, who cares? And his response is, bro, and it's not that deep. His response is, it is when he made a whole brand off of one guy, then denies he's a Tua fan. And that is essentially the juxtaposition, the whole aura surrounding if you talk about Tua Tagovailoa. It has to either be negative or it has to be positive. There's no in between, because if you're in between and you could see the both, and I've said this like so many times, it's just like, you are a fence hopper, you are a switcher, you haven't made your decision, you haven't done this, you haven't done that. And I just think it's funny that this gentleman thinks I made my name and my brand off of Tua when I started this 2 years before Tua was drafted, and I will continue doing this when Tua is not here. So, and take what you will. What do you mean when he's not here? Blah, blah, blah. Take with what you will. But talking about Tua is a thing that is just controversial. But there was something that was said on the Dolphin Collective a while ago, like I think a week or two ago, that I found very interesting. And I've been wanting to talk about it, and I've been wanting to kind of delve into it. And I think the fact that OTAs start on Tuesday is a perfect time to talk about it. And you can see the title, right? Which Tua are the Dolphins getting? Shout out to Mike from Dolphins Talk. You might be watching this on Dolphins Talk because you can see my stuff on Dolphins Talk. I'm not very good grammatically, being dyslexic. I hit Mike up a while ago and I was like, Mike, is it which Tua is the Dolphins getting, or is it which Tua are the Dolphins getting? Because he writes for Dolphins Talk. And he was like, it's R. I'm like, appreciate you. Because it sounds good either way to me. I don't know. Again, I'm grammatically just the worst, and you guys know it because you correct me on it and all that stuff. But that's the biggest thing, right? Which Tua are the Dolphins getting? And obviously you got people who really don't like Tua, right? It doesn't matter if he comes out and he does whatever, it takes us wherever, we win a playoff game, we go here, we do this, he comes back, win, da-da-da. To those people, it's because of the coaching, it's because of the weapons, it's because of this, and this, not Tua. But if we lose, it's not because of X, Y, and Z, it's because of Tua. And it's like, but then again, there's the flip side where there's people who I've come out and said that Tua's injuries have not been because of the offensive line, and I've got flack for that. I've come out and said Tua should not get paid yet. We should let him play the 5th year. I've gotten flack for that. Again, I am very even keel. I see very good things out of Tua. I see things that Tua needs to work on. It's called being unbiased, right? I'm not even people call me a Tua stan. I'm not. I'm a Jordan Phillips stan. Like, I am constantly like, he's going to be so good. He's going to be so good. And he keeps getting injured. Now I'm a Chop fan. Stan, I love pass rushers. I used to play the position. Love pass rushers. I get called a two and ear. Fun fact: people don't know what a two and ear is anymore, because TD made it up 4 years ago, and people don't even know what it means anymore. Two and ear is an Alabama fan or a Tua fan that has come and became a Miami Dolphin for Tua, and if Tua's not here anymore, they're not a Dolphin fan anymore. Been a Dolphin fan for 35 years. I started this channel 7 years ago. I'm not a two and ear. I will, if you say things that are false, I will point it out and I will make a point to say you're wrong, because again, you could say the same thing about Chop. I've gone to bat for Chop. I've gone to bat. People have bashed Jalen Phillips, saying, "Oh, he's going to suck," and yada yada. I've gone to bat for him, but people ignore that because it's not Tua. Again, a very polarizing piece on this team, unfortunately. And you can't defend your quarterback. It has to be he's the worst and all that stuff. So we're going to listen to what Omar Kelly said. This is from 2 weeks ago on the Dolphin Collective. It's under Miami Dolphins UDFA breakdown, latest on Tyreek Hill drama. Go over, subscribe if you haven't yet. Again, I love working with Omar, Allen, and TD. I know TD's not for everyone. I know Omar's not for everyone. I know Allen's not for everyone. I'm not for everyone. There's people on TD's channel that do not like me because they think I'm a two and ear, or two a stand, or two of this, and I'm fake, and this, and that. It is what it is. But the reason the four of us got together is so you get a little bit of everything, right? I push back on TD. You can go check out, I think it wasn't the last video, it was the video before that. I was pushing back on TD because he was saying some things that I'm like, that's false. I have stats in front of me, and we went at it. But again, at the end of the day, I'm still good friends with TD. So when everything's said and done, we were laughing about it. Like, I've gone at it with Allen because I disagree with some of the things he says. But at the end of the day, it's just a discussion. So go check it out if you want. Subscribe, yada, yada. But this is from that episode 2 weeks ago. And Omar Kelly had some interesting things. Because again, Omar Kelly, you have two guys who cover the Dolphins, who have the fan perspective, and then you have two beat writers who are in there, who have connections, who talk to people. And this is what Omar Kelly had to say that I thought was very interesting.
Wow.
So Omar, what's your take?
Okay, this is going to hurt some people's feelings, but I think that there is beef, and there's beef between Tua, and there's beef between Tyreek. It was not a coincidence that Tyreek felt when he went to the Super Bowl, he had to publicly apologize, not just to the team, but Tua specifically. Tyreek's behavior and antics have done nothing but undermined Mike McDaniel and compromised his standing with the team and with South Florida. You go after Mike, you go after Tua. And I think from what I'm hearing, Tua has taken a lot of the things that Tyreek has done and said quite personal, and it has impacted their relationship. Can it be fixed? Can it be fixed? I certainly hope so, but there is some tension there. Now, I think there's only a certain amount of hoops that Tyreek is going to jump through. And I don't know where Tua is. I have not talked to Tua. I have not talked to Tua camp, but Tua is deafeningly silent this offseason. And if you have not, it's been a warning shot to everybody. And I'm curious what this evolution will create. Tua is not Mr. Nice Guy right now.
You look nice.
So, TD was about to say something. TD is going to take a shot at Tua. He said that to me. And if you go and watch the clip, I am writing things down as Omar's talking, because I'm like, oh my God, this is interesting. Da, 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 da. And then I'm like, he's talking to me and I'm thinking and I'm taking notes. And I have had these notes that I've been writing down while Omar is telling us these things, because he isn't wrong. Right. And then I went and I talked to other people that I don't have sources. I don't have ins. So I talked to other people who do. I wanted to know, have you heard anything about Tua? Have you heard anything about Tua? If you're a Patreon or a member, you already know some of the things I'm going to tell you, because I've talked about it, I think, last weekend. So again, if you want, join the membership, join the Patreon. Patreon's linked in the description. Omar's not wrong. Normally we hear from Tua. Normally we see videos of Tua working out. Now, obviously, we saw videos and pictures of Tua on boats and stuff, and everyone got in the, people who don't like Tua is like, he looks fat, and look at him. He's not even working out. He's not even doing anything. He's just partying all the time. And then there's people defending Tua, and I will say I was one of them because that's the most ridiculous thing. The man can't enjoy some time in the offseason, but also not work out. But the thing is, there was no video of it. And when there's video of it, people who like Tua are like, oh, look at him working out. Look at him working out. And then the people who don't like Tua are like, oh, God, here we go. Off-season videos, blah, blah, blah. But do you see, it's another example of how Tua just can't win, right? There's no off-season video workouts, so Tua's lazy, he's not working out. There is off-season workout videos, and up here we go, the Tua hype, and he's working out and performing for the can't win. But that is something interesting. We didn't hear from Tua, right? And I like this, right? I like not hearing from Tua. And like Omar said, if he's angry, good. And if you watch the rest of that video, I say to, or the live stream, I ask Omar, is this a good thing? Would you? And I even asked TD because TD starts like, his whole thing with like, oh boy, blah, blah. And I say to TD, don't you want this? As a Dolphin fan, don't you want Tua to be pissed? I do. I want Tua to be pissed. I want Tua to come out and be like, I'm going to prove people wrong. I'm going to prove Tyreek wrong, this and that. Like everyone's coming out and saying X, Y, and Z about me. And then Tyreek is out here, putting Baker Mayfield on his top list. And when I was, and I don't think he gives a crap about that list, but I want Tua to be pissed, as Omar's saying. Because again, radio silent. Normally Tua comes out and he says things. And the thing about Tua is sometimes he speaks before he thinks, and it gets him in trouble, right? Sometimes he's a little too honest, and then people dissect it. Like when he came out after the 2020 season and he said, I didn't know the playbook fully, right? He never said, I didn't know the playbook. He said, I didn't know the playbook fully, or I didn't fully understand the playbook, something like that. And people jumped on him. How do you not understand the playbook? How is this? How is that? Oh, it makes no sense how you can't understand the playbook. Yet in that same offseason, the Super Bowl winning quarterback, Tom Brady, comes out and says, to me, learning the Tampa Bay Buccaneer playbook was like speaking Japanese. It took me, I didn't understand that playbook until the offseason, until the playoffs. But everyone just kind of, shh, Brady, shut up. We're kind of mad at Tua right now. We want to be irrationally angry at a rookie coming in on a COVID year, So, but he doesn't say that, the whole show me the money thing. Everyone's taking that. Oh, what a cocky POS. And how do you come out and say that when he got dared in front of the team to say it? Like everyone is taking that and blowing that out of proportion when the team knew he was going to say it, right? Like, again, it's a joke, but these things aren't happening. You're not hearing from Tua. You're not having interviews with Tua. You're not seeing video of Tua, except for when he's having leisure time on his own, or when he went to the the team stuff with the racing and yada yada. So, is Tua? Are we getting a revenge tour for Tua? Right? Because you're going to get honesty from me. 2024 sucked. Right? Tua came out. He took the hit against Buffalo, stupid hit, right? When it happened, I was nervous for him as a human being. I was like, God, I hope he's all right. That's a hard hit, and he's obviously concussed again, and his career might be over. Hopefully his livelihood is not different from the concussion. And then when everything was fine, I was mad at him. Because I'm like, what are you doing, dude? And then he gets the hip injury against the Texans, which again wasn't because of the offensive line. He took off running, which then he aggravated against the 49ers. And it's like 6 games you missed. And out of those 6 games, we could have won more, right? I think they beat the Colts. I think they beat Seattle. I think honestly they beat Tennessee, but a lot of people laugh at me when I say that. I think that this team could have been an 11-win team if Tua stayed healthy. The amount that they had to change this offense and dumb it down for Huntley and all this stuff really affected this team. So when he got hurt last year, I was like, okay, he's good. He's healthy. Now I'm mad. right? And, he got put on the IR. That was more of optics, right? And again, he went out. They played on a Thursday night against Buffalo. He went out on his off time to go to Disneyland, Disney World with his teammates, Raheem Mostert and other guys with their families. Everyone got bent out of shape. He was fine. He got put on IR for the optics, for the NFL crest, for everyone to be like, he had the fencing pose. We can't have him out there again, but he was mentally fine. But it bothered me. It pissed me off, right? Then that Houston Texans game, that pissed me off too, because I'm like, dude, you threw 3 interceptions in this game. It was a 1-score game for so long. Our defense was holding the Houston Texans. We needed to win this game to continue our playoff standings. And you just it was like, and again, I am the type of Dolphin fan and the content creator that I will shoot you straight. Right? When Tua does well, when Tua does things, if I have stats and facts in front of you to show you the good that Tua does, I'm going to do it. But when he does bad, like the Texans game, like the 49ers in this Chargers game in 2022, like the Packers game in 2022, I could raffle off a lit. There's I'm going to shoot it straight, and he needs to do better. And I'm hoping that this revenge tour I'm talking about, because he's pissed, is something that is brewing right now, right? Is he going to come out? We're going to get that extremely salty Tua. Is he going to come out and try to prove people wrong? He's not working with Nick Hicks, right? Supposedly, and again, take this with whatever. Again, I went out and I asked people who have sources. So again, their sources could be wrong. I'm just going to tell you what I heard. He's just working with the team. Right? He's not doing the West Coast quarterback stuff anymore. Supposedly, I think Nick Hicks came out and said he's not working with him anymore. Supposedly, he's just sticking with the team. Right? They paid him all this money. The team is going to take care of him when it comes to training, when it comes to his health, when it comes to concussions. The team want control over that, and they want control over everything. So again, then all of a sudden, it comes this whole Tyreek Hill in him situation, right? He's pissed. Now, he's pissed for whatever reason, and like Omar said, Tyreek Hill came out during the Super Bowl, had to apologize to Tua, had to yada, yada, blah, 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 undermining the head coach, you're undermining Tua, all that stuff. And some people then have come out and said that Tua is not a leader, which I disagree. And I would love to show you the clip, which I can't really, because I would definitely get copyright claimed. But it's go watch Hard Knocks when we needed that first down to run the clock out, kick the field goal, and beat the Dallas Cowboys. He completely took control over that. He took control over the play call. He told Mike not to talk to Tyreek. He was calling the play in the huddle. At halftime, he's talking to Teron Armstead. There's so many. Oh, he's not pumped up on the sideline. I could show you clip after clip after clip of him getting pumped up with touchdowns and all that stuff. He is a leader. He has to be, right? If not, they're not going to listen to him. They're not going to go to bat for him. These offensive linemen aren't going to block for him. We've seen him grab, I think it was Eichenberg. It was one of the offensive linemen. He pulled him back so he didn't get a penalty. You see him get frustrated with Grant because he's not going to the right side. I think that was in 2021. Like, he has been a leader of this team, and you see him taking command of things. But again, the whole point of this video is that radio silence that Omar's talking about, that, I'm really wondering if he's going to come out and try to shut people up, because that's what Tua does, right? If Tua does something bad, he tends to fix it and come out and do it better the next year. Now, the thing that is hurting him the most, and the biggest reason I don't want to give him a contract extension, is because he can't stay healthy. And he stayed healthy in 2023, and then he got hurt again in 2024. 2025, if he stays healthy, the Dolphins have a shot at doing something. Again, I have my videos coming out before the season starts for the team expectations, Tua's expectations, record predictions, all that stuff. So right now, this isn't really talking about my expectations of Tua. This is me just kind of talking and riffing off of what Omar said. but he needs to do better. And I made a video. Go back and watch the cap update and a possible bright future. The Dolphins can trade him next year. They can trade Tyreek Hill now or cut him next year. They're gonna trade Ramsey. Those three moves right there, the Dolphins will have around like $80 million in cap space next year. And obviously they need to decide on Jalen Phillips. Is he coming back? Yada yada blah blah blah. But those three moves can give you a lot of cap space. So again, this year for him, for Greer, for McDaniel is a make or break year. And I think that also is why he's radio silent and has his nose to the ground, right? Because there's a misconception of Tua, especially last year. And these are the stats, right? A lot of people want to say first reads, right? Tua always throws to the first read. He doesn't go to his second read. It's always first read, first read, first read. Now, this is first read percentage. Now, obviously, I could do first reads, but obviously you want to do attempts versus the read, right? That's kind of how percentages work. And when you look at who is the highest, right? Like Jameis Winston, Cleveland, 58.8% of the time he's throwing his first read. Cooper Rush, Joe Burrow, Joe Flacco, Dak, Daniel Jones, Mason Rudolph. Like your top guys aren't really good, except for Joe Burrow. But, he had Jamar Chase, so he's going to obviously throw it to him to start off. But, you keep looking. You have Justin Herbert here, 49.3%. You keep looking. 25th in the NFL. Tua threw to his first reads. Less than Justin Herbert, less than Baker Mayfield, less than Matthew Stafford, less than Brock Purdy, less than Joe Burrow. 25th in the NFL, Tua threw to his first reads. Then when it came to how many times did he throw to his second reads? Kirk Cousins up there, Caleb Williams, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, 13th. So the notion that all Tua does is throw to his first reads isn't true. And I know there's going to be people in the comment section who are going to give me some semantic of why this is and yada yada. Cool. Fine and dandy. The other thing is the coverage. And I think this is where, and I'm going to start talking some X's and O's. This is where I think the team can definitely help, especially with what they're doing. And again, I will delve more on this before the season starts when it comes to the expectations of the team. But if you watch last year, right, single high safety, how many times these teams faced single high safety? And you have Jalen Hurts. Obviously, he has Saquon, Josh Allen. He's a runner himself. Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson. With Derrick Henry, you have all of these guys who face that single high safety percentage. And you keep looking, and I kept looking, and I'm like looking, and I'm now I could keep going over, right? But 32 quarterbacks have seen single high safety more than Tua, which means even no safety, right? The percent of dropbacks in which the defense has 0 deep safeties in coverage, meaning they have everyone in the box to stop the run. And I'm trying to look for Tua, right? Atlanta, Cleveland, LA, Minnesota, nowhere. It's because they didn't fear the run. They didn't fear the run. What they feared was Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Don't let them beat us over top. They're not going to run it on us because they're not that good. You want to know how I know that? 2 high safeties. Who is the number 1 quarterback in the NFL when it came to facing 2 high safeties? AKA, you're not going to run it on us. Your offense can't run the ball. Just don't beat us over the top. Tua Tagovailoa. And I'm going to go more into this because obviously there's pressures, there's deep passing, there's all this stuff. And I'm going to talk about it with Tua when I come into talking about his expectations and all that stuff. My point is, I'm hoping Tua has his nose to the grindstone and he is, getting himself physically ready. And he comes out and he has the best year of his life. 5,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, and we win a playoff game. Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters to me. But there's this preconceived notion out there that he had, if we had an iota of a run game, and I'll show you 2023, I'll do it again with other, that's not the point of this video. look how much different things would be, right? Tua wouldn't be leading the NFL and facing two high safeties because they would be worried about the run game. There's a lot of different things that can go into this. But again, to get back to the question, which Tua are the Dolphins getting? I'm hoping it's a better 2023. Can it be a better 2023? I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. None of us are. So, we can hope and pray. Again, if you're a Dolphin fan, you want Tua to come out and be a better 2023. You want Tua to come out and prove people wrong that he's a horrible. I get told he sucks, bottom 5 in the league, all this stuff. And I'm just saying to myself, if he was so bad, he wouldn't lead the league in all these different categories. Well, that's because he has Waddle and he has Hill and da. Jalen Hurts didn't lead in certain categories, and obviously not last year, but the year before because he went to the Super Bowl. And he has Smith and Brown. So there's a lot of different things. But my point of this is to get you what Omar said, make you think about it and wonder and see what Tua are we getting. I'm interested to see his first presser. I want to see how he is with his first press conference. I want to see what he says. And I want to see if he flubs up and says something, right? Because, like I said, he comes out and he says certain things and you're just like, oh, why'd you say that? Because now they're going to just feast on it. Feast on one term you said, and they're going to take it and they're going to spin it any way they want. So again, I asked the question, which two are the Dolphins getting? Are they going to get one that's going to help us win a playoff game? Or are they going to get one that's going to make us kind of regret giving him his contract? That's for you to answer. I'll tell you before the season starts when I give you my Tua expectation videos. Again, I have a lot, right? Tuesday, we have OTAs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then we have OTAs the first week of June. And then we have mandatory minicamps. And there's a break. Then we have training camp. I'm trying to go down for 2 days in training camp. Somebody said, why don't you go for a game? Family, man. I don't care about the game. Plus, I want to live stream it. Don't you guys want to watch the game with me? And then, before the season starts, I make a record prediction. I give you my expectations for each aspect of the team. There's a lot that goes on. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. We're almost at 52,000 subscribers. I love every single one of you. Thank you for rocking with me. Again, 7 years, crazy town. And I will see you not tomorrow. I'm going to enjoy tomorrow again. Today's Saturday. Maybe Monday. I don't know yet. There's something that Anthony Weaver said that I thought was interesting, but you definitely will see me on Tuesday, first day of OTAs. But like usual, stay classy. F ends up.